Nakakaasar na rito eh. Not everything that is happening in this country is about them.
Ginagamit ang pera ng taong bayan para hindi na sila maalis sa pwesto. Alam naman natin ang totoo, hindi naman nila gamit ang sarili nilang pera eh. Pag nakaupo na yan, ang gamit nila para mangampanya, resources ng taong bayan.
Let's be all honest. How many times have you seen the same last name on the ballot? Governor, mayor, congressman, vice mayor. Same name, same house, but different chair. And we're supposed to pretend this is normal, right? We're told that's just how politics works and that's democracy. Let the people decide. No, that's not democracy. That's inheritance disguised as choice. And today, we're finally talking about the anti-political dynasty bill. A bill that should have existed a long time ago. If political dynasties were actually good for the country, we'd already be a first world nation by now, right? But we're not. So something isn't working. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to my channel.
Napag-uusapan na itong anti-political dynasty law. Pero sa tingin ko po, bago natin pag-usapan yung iba't ibang mga detalye nito, kailangan malinaw po sana sa bawat isa kung bakit ba natin sinusulong to. Ba't ba natin hinahangad na magkaroon ng isang anti-political dynasty law? Para sa akin po, hindi po ito tungkol sa kahit sinong individual o spesipikong pamilya. Hindi po ito laban sa isang pamilya, hindi po ito laban sa isang individual o sa isang politiko. What we are against here is the concentration of power in the hands of a few political elite. Na alam po natin yan na ang nangyayari sa ating bansa. Pangalawa po, the use of state resources, the use of taxpayers' money to perpetuate themselves in power. Ibig po sabihin, ginagamit ang makinarya ng pamahalaan para sa pangampanya nila, ginagamit ang pera ng taong bayan para hindi na sila maalis sa pwesto. So kung yun yung nilalabanan natin, ano naman yung gusto natin? Ano ba yung inaasam-asam natin para sa ating bayan? Ang gusto po natin, ang mga kabataan, ang gusto po natin, ang mga mahuhusay, ang gusto po natin, ang mamamayan na kwalipikado at may kayang mamuno, ay siyang mabigyan ng pagkakataon. Our Constitution not only suggests, but our Constitution guarantees equal access to opportunities for public service. This is the constitutional guarantee that Congress has slept on for the last 40 years. Kaya ito po, sinusulong natin ng isang anti-political dynasty law. Gusto po natin na pag may magaling, pag may mahusay, ano man ang kanyang pangalan, ano man ang kanyang kakayahan in terms of money, pondo, kahit wala siyang sapat na, kahit kulang yung resources, walang political machinery, hindi miyembro ng political family, ay magkaroon siya ng pagkakataon. Kasi sa kasalukuyan po nating sitwasyon, opo, paminsan-minsan may mga magagaling na galing sa political family, hindi naman po natin inatanggi yun. Alam naman po natin, totoo yan. Pero, tingnan natin yung pangkabuuan. May isang kandidato na sobrang galing, honest, may integridad, maayos, mahusay, matino, pero walang pangalan, walang makinarya, walang pera. Ang kalaban niya, miyembro ng political family, let's say, wala masyadong kaalaman, wala masyadong karanasan, hindi marunong, hindi magaling, may pagkakurap pa ng konti. Sa sitwasyon natin sa Pilipinas, 9 times out of 10 ang mananalo yung miyembro ng political family. Bakit? Kasi gamit nila yung resources ng pamahalaan. Alam naman natin ang totoo. Hindi naman nila gamit ang sarili nilang pera eh. Pag nakaupo na yan, ang gamit nila para mangampanya, resources ng taong bayan. May iba pang lugar, makikita po natin ng mga instance ng karahasan. Papasok ang bago, walang koneksyon sa politika. Manganib ang buhay niya mismo. Sa maraming lugar sa Pilipinas, ganyan po ang sitwasyon. Kaya po kailangan natin ng isang batas to equal the playing field and to give us what the Constitution guarantees, ng equal access to opportunities for public service. Yan po ang sinusulong natin, yan ang pinaglalaban natin pag pinag-uusapan natin ang isang anti-political dynasty law.
The fact that we are facing and continue to face, and it remains unresolved, the largest corruption scandal in the history of the Republic, this too is a wake-up call for the bureaucracy as well as the governed, that's you, the governors and the governed, na hindi na dapat pwede yung dating gawi.
Pag may dinastiya, malimit, mas malalim pa ang kahirapan. Hindi umaahagos sa sambayanan ang yaman.
A lot of us Filipinos have the capacity, have the mental power.
Nakakaasar na rito eh. Not everything that is happening in this country is about them.
So some people hear the term political dynasty and they think, politics yan. Hindi naman ako tatakbo. Paki ko. Bala kayo dyan. But here's the truth. This affects everyone. Because look at the double standard, As a regular Filipino, what do they ask from you? Board passer, experience, training, seminar, certification, minimum years, maximum age, sometimes even height requirement. All of that for one job. Isang trabaho lang ha, grabe na agad ang requirements. Pero pagdating sa politics, you don't have to be a board passer or a high achiever. You don't even need a proven track record. You just need the last name. You just need to be part of the family. That's it. And let's not pretend this isn't happening right now, because it is. What we see in the Philippines is very clear. They slowly introduce their family members. Una, barangay. Then councilor, next vice mayor, then mayor, then congressman. Baka sunod senator, and then sunod president. Paunti-unti, step by step, it's all planned. Hindi dahil magaling, hindi dahil kailangan ng tao, but because it's their turn. And that's the system. And what? We're supposed to accept that as normal? Think about how insulting that is to ordinary Filipinos. Because you're told, prove yourself first, provide all the certifications, be sure that you had this seminar at all. But them, they're told, it's your turn to shine, anak. Ipapasa ko na ang trono sa'yo. That's not leadership development. That's succession planning. Corporate style, and it's like family owned. And while capable Filipinos are stuck trying to qualify, entire positions are being reserved in advance. So when people say, wala naman masama sa dynasty, yes, there is. Because it tells every qualified, intelligent, hard-working Filipino one thing. You can be good, but you'll never be connected enough. That's why this bill matters. Not because everyone wants to be a politician, but because everyone deserves a fair system, right? And right now, this system is designed to reward bloodline over competence. And until we call that out, nothing changes. And let's clear something up. This bill does not say families cannot run for office forever. No, it says this. You don't get to occupy multiple positions at the same time. You don't get to rotate power like musical chairs. You don't get to replace yourself with your spouse, your child, or sibling the moment your term ends. That's it. To be honest, Public office is not a family corporation. And if that idea scares someone, that tells you everything you need to know. Now, this is the favorite line of the Dynasty defenders. Let the people decide. Sounds democratic, right? Feels righteous. Parang walang pwedeng umangal, walang pwedeng magreklamo. But it's a convenient lie because the people can only decide based on the options placed in front of them. Okay? And when one family controls the entire environment, the decision is already influenced. Let's be specific. When one political family controls the money, the barangay captains, the local contracts, the campaign machinery, the name recall, the outcome is no longer organic. It's already engineered. And again, that's not free choice. That's manufactured consent. A lot of what they call public service is actually political machinery, like medical missions, voluntary health programs, relief operations with their face. And let's be honest, those things are not neutral. They're not random acts of kindness. They are all strategic. Because if this service was purely about helping the citizens, the people, why is the politician's face everywhere? Bakit may patarp? Bakit may palogo? Bakit may pangalan? Na para bang kanila yung pera? Na para bang galing sa bulsa nila? When in reality, that's public money, taxpayers' money. And that's not service, that's branding. It conditions people to associate survival with one name. There's a psychology behind all of that. And once that association is planted, the vote is already influenced. People think they're choosing freely. But the choice was shaped long before election day. Matagal na po. Nabilog na po kayo dati pa, bago pa mag-eleksyon. Now compare that to candidates na tahimik lang. No tarpaulins everywhere, no daily exposure. Simpleng lifestyle lang, minsan halos di napapansin. Halos hindi mo sila kilala. Not because they don't care, but because they don't control the machinery. And here's the irony. Those are often the people who actually understand governance, but they don't stand a chance. Because elections today are not about ideas, they're about visibility. And visibility costs what? Money po. Pera po. So when someone says, bakit nanalo sila? Gusto ng tao eh. Stop. I think you should ask the real question here. Was the public truly choosing, or were they responding to years of conditioning? It becomes emotional, transactional, and survival based. But here's the fact, try running against that system. No money, no network, no barangay backing, no tarps, no medical missions with your face on them. You won't even reach the debate stage. No, you'll be labeled as unknown. Walang nagawa, walang track record. Even if that's not true. So don't insult the intelligence of voters by pretending the field is equal. Because, to be honest, it's not. And pretending otherwise only protects those already in power. And let's stop pretending here. Everyone already knows how this works. You qualify, you apply, you do everything right. And still, the position goes to the boss child. Hindi ka na nga nagugulat eh. Hindi ka nagreklamo, walang outrage. Because people already understand one rule. It will always favor the boss. Kasi, sino ka ba naman? Mapera ka ba? Mayaman ka ba? Kilala ba ang apelyido mo? Wala. So, you just step aside. And that exact same logic rules Philippine politics. People already assume the winner before the campaign even started. Anak yan ni Mayor. Pinsan ng congressman yan. May basbas ng pamilya yan. Tapos na ang usapan. That's people saying, wala akong laban. Political dynasties don't just win elections, they win before elections because they condition everyone else to believe they don't belong. And when someone says, let the people decide, be honest. Decide what? Exactly. When the money is already on one side, when the tarps are already everywhere, when the barangay captains already know who to support, because that's not a decision, that's a compliance. Most people already know that doing good won't get you elected. Visibility, power, and money will. So when a simple, competent, quiet candidate shows up, walang pumapansin. No one knows they exist because they don't look powerful. They don't look untouchable. And people think, hindi yan mananalo. Because they're not backed by a dynasty. So let's stop lying to ourselves. This system doesn't reward merit. It rewards inheritance. And once you accept that, you understand why political dynasties fight so hard to stay in power. And also, here's another excuse. They love to say this. Experience runs in the family. Actually, no, it doesn't. Incompetence runs in families. Entitlement runs in families. Power addiction definitely runs in families. We all know that. But leadership? That's not genetic. If experience really worked that way, then explain why cities run by the same families for decades still have the same problems. It's the same traffic, same poor services, same excuses every election. Because that's not experience. That's stagnation. Real experience produces results. Real leadership makes itself unnecessary. But dynasties don't solve problems permanently because problems keep them relevant. If decades in power still don't fix the basics, then that experience is not something we should inherit. And that's exactly why the anti-political dynasty bill matters. Because if leadership was truly about competence, it wouldn't need to stay in the family. All right, guys. So before we wrap up, let's check out some of your comments from the previous video about Senator Erwin Tulfo's Mandatory Pension Act. Let's start with John Mel Montreales. Sabi niya, depende yan kung regular employee ang OFW sa company na pinapasukan nila. Pero kung per contract at hindi matagal ang work mo, sayang lang din, konti lang ng ipon ng OFW. Nakakaasar pa sa ganyang sistema, mapipilitan kang maghulog. Kung pwede naman nila ibigay ng libre, tulad ng libreng healthcare, dapat pinag-uukulan nila ng pansin ng maayos ang edukasyon, maayos na pasahod, libre at maayos na ospital, murang pabahay. Exactly. That's the point. OFWs are already sacrificing everything, forcing mandatory contributions without addressing the bigger system. Healthcare, education, wages is missing the real problem. Let's fix the foundation before asking people to pay more. Next is by Derek Dale Rock. Why do we need to contribute? Samantalang nag-aambag na kami sa ekonomiya while working overseas. Kung gusto tumulong ng gobyerno, no need for us to ambag. Bingo. OFWs are already funding the economy. Forcing extra contributions is not support. It's extraction. Pigang-piga na po kami. The government should be helping, not taking more from people already giving everything. Next is at Ben Africa 777. Di gandang-ganda ako sa'yo. Thank you. Especially pag nag-explain ka. You hit the point. The devil is in the detail. If corruption still exists in the government, no matter how good the program is, it is doomed to fail. Exactly. Kasi good programs fail if corruption is allowed to persist. The law isn't enough. Accountability comes first. Without it, nothing works, no matter how well-intentioned it is. Next is Maximo Comilang, 9387. Pagtibayin na lang ang OWA. Konti lang ang taga-suporta niyong mahihikayat, Mr. Senator, another conduit of corruption. Look what is happening to SSS and GIS. Bugbog na po kaming mga OFW sa contribution. Lumalabas tuloy na milking cow na ang mga OFW. Bakit mandatory? Exactly. Totoo po ito. This is why we need to focus on existing institutions first. Strengthen the OWA, fix SSS and GSIS, clean up corruption, then talk about new contributions. Don't create a new problem while the old ones are broken. Next is by Edna Deason, 3965. Bakit di kunin some percentage sa employers and also not all the families? Absolutely. Actually, this is smart. If employers can be required to pay minimum wages, they can also shoulder the pension contribution. OFW should not carry the burden alone. The employers have the resources and they should pay. That's it. That's it, guys. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate the honesty and insight. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.